I think if you build a relationship with one lender, they're going to do better. They'll start to give you better deals and better rates. But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with just figuring out who's going to, shopping around for lenders. Because some lenders will give you cheaper rates, but they won't give you what we call as much leverage, right?
Okay.
Because if I got a lender who will give me 90% of the deal, which many will, right? That means I only got to come up with 10%. So like, even if you wanted to flip, it's actually not as much money as people think. So like, let's just take this normal deal. Okay. The $300,000 deal we've been talking about. So I get it under contract for $300,000. I'm like, I want to flip this. Well, I know these hard money lenders will give me 90%. So all I need to do is come up with 10% of $300K. That's $30,000. Now, most people don't have 30 grand, but guess what? Pretty much everyone here knows somebody with 30 grand. And so we would get what we call a gap funder to fund that 30 grand for us. And so that's how we start fixing and flipping without even having to put money into that either.
Gotcha. And then really what you're working on is just hustling, getting the work done quickly. Let me ask you this, Ryan, because this is something that's always had me very apprehensive to deal with the fixing and flipping, right? Because it can be fairly labor intensive. Obviously, you get the deal. Your goal is to get it fixed and rehabbed as quickly as possible so you can turn around and put it back on the market. How do you go about finding people to do the work? And at what point do you say, and at what point do you, so first you need people to do the work, right? But then you got to figure out what work is worth being done. Are we talking just some interior painting, which you mentioned on your first deal you did? Are we talking, we could work all the way up until plumbing issues, maybe a roof that needs to be replaced? At what point do you figure out, say, okay, this is worth the repairs, let's do it, versus, okay, this is not worth the repairs, we're not going to do it? What are the no-goes?
We got a really easy way to figure this out.
Okay.
It's called copy the comps. So when we're looking up ARV, it's like, okay, ARV's 400 grand. Well, what did that house look like? So that $400,000 house, did they have a new kitchen? What kind of countertops did they have? What did the floor look like? You don't even need to literally just copy that house. If they use a certain style, they used white cabinets and white counters and everything else, literally just copy it because it's already been proven to be worth 400K. You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Okay. So basically, don't do anything different to what the house already is. So what would make you say, what are some issues with the house, right? And this will be good for the buy and hold guys too. What are some issues with the house where you would say, okay, this one's a no-go, we can't fix and flip this one and actually turn a profit or not worth buying? Are we talking plumbing issues,
like mold,
new roof,
who knows?
Yeah.
We've literally done everything. We've done houses that we fix and flip that were teardowns. Like literally the entire house needed to go.
Wow.
So it all just depends on the numbers. So if I'm just looking at, I got to get a contract in there to give me the numbers. So first I start with ARV and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what a $400,000 house looks like. What kind of condition is it in? Okay, it has new showers, new closets, new kitchen, all that good stuff. All right, tight. I'm going to go get a contractor, walk this current house, see what it's going to cost to get it up to that level. And then, the contractor says, maybe it's 60 grand to get it to that level. So all I do is I say, okay, it's worth $400,000 fixed up. I want to be all in at 80% of that. So I want to be all in at 320. So if I'm all in at 320 and I got 60K of repairs to get there, then I minus 60,000 from 320. So now I'm at, 260. So 260 is the price I need it to be at for me to buy this deal. It's just simply reverse engineering math. That's how you figure out what you can pay.
Gotcha. Okay. And would it be fair to say, because you were saying comps, right? So basically the deal that you're looking at needs to be, I guess, on par with the other houses in the area, since residential real estate is so heavily dependent on comps.
Yep. Yeah. Residential depends on all the properties that are like it near it.
Yeah.
Commercial's different. Commercial's valued based on net operating income. But yeah, for what we're talking about, just look at properties that are the same square footage, that are nearby.
So your fixes essentially you can't, because it's a I guess it's a delicate balance where you're fixing the home just to get it on par with the other homes in the area so that it's comparable versus, oh, let me go ahead and put marble countertops and make this thing super exquisite. Like, that's not what you want to do, right?
No, because the main thing you don't want to do is over renovate a home. Yeah. So, like, I'll tell you an example. When I first started flipping in 2015, I actually first started out buying homes in the ghetto. So a lot of people were like, bro, why would you buy a house there? That it's going to get robbed. It's going to do this. And I'm like, well, there's less competition. You know, people don't want them, but the numbers make sense. I'm going to just buy it. And so, you know, I started buying homes in the ghetto. That's how I first got started. And everyone else was buying only in super nice areas, blah, blah, blah. And I was making more money on my properties and they cost way less.
Yeah.
And the thing that you got to remember is, especially with properties like that, bro, they ain't looking for marble countertops and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And so you don't renovate a property based on what you like or what you would live in. And you also don't buy properties based on where you would live.
Yep.
You just simply buy properties based on if the numbers work. And if the numbers work, especially as a fix and flip, you buy it. And so, yeah, I would never over renovate a property that's like, you know, in the ghetto where it's like, dude, they're fine with just normal cabinets and lower stuff. Because here's the thing, too. That person who's buying that house is going to be more price sensitive. So maybe like I over renovate the house and, you know, it's like just so sick, right? And it's in a lower income area. And I price it at maybe $300,000 and everything else is at $260,000. Well, guess what? It's not going to appraise for $300,000 because there are no other properties that sold for that. And also, too, the end buyer would rather be at $260,000 and have like a less nice house.
Yeah,
because they're more price conscious.
Yep, absolutely. How do you go about getting contractors to do the fix and flips
that you trust?
Yeah, because that's where I think things can get a little bit tricky and people can get scared because now we're on a tight timeline. We got a hard money loan out. We got a year to get this thing kind of done. So how does one go about finding a trustworthy laborers to get this thing done?
Yeah, dude, that's the hard part. That's why I love wholesaling because you don't got to deal with contractors. You don't have to deal with you know, fixing things up or hard money loans or nothing. I love wholesaling for that reason. But, you know, we still flip too. I mean, so if you're going to flip, I would say, you know, number one, referrals. If you can get referrals from other people who are in the industry, then that's huge. But two would be, here's a quick tip. You guys can go to Home Depot, right? At like 6 in the morning.
Lorenzo won.
Yeah, go to Home Depot at 6 in the morning and see who's there, you know, working at 6 in the morning, getting their materials and everything else. Those types of people are obviously like on their game. Don't go to Home Depot at 10 a.m. and think you're getting the good guy. You're getting the dude who, you know, is hungover, just woke up and now ready to go to work. We don't want that.
Right.
Yeah. No, that is...
That's actually a good hack.
That's very stereotypical, but no, I mean that's true because you know you're gonna find people that are skilled laborers that can do this stuff.
Yo, we've had cases where like you'll pay the person half, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I'll do the job for you, brother." They start, and they're like,
"Oh,
my
bro,
wife
let me
is
hold
sick,
on.
my friend."
Let me talk about that so nobody gets screwed either.
Please, yeah.
So
please do.
When you get a contractor, they will always say something like that. Hey, like pay me half, and then I'll pay me half when I finish. Never ever do that. So the rule that we have with contractors is, number one, it's called stay ahead. So we have to always stay ahead of the contractors, meaning if I got to fire this guy tomorrow, man, I haven't paid him like all this money, and now I'm going to be way behind when I hire this new contractor. So we want to always stay ahead. And so we do that by just paying out weekly in less big chunks, right? And so maybe I'll give them a little bit of money to get started. I ain't giving them half. I ain't even going to probably give them a quarter. Like I'm going to give them whatever is needed to the bare minimum to get started. And then I'm going to make progress payments as we go on. Now, here's the thing. A lot of contractors will be like, oh, well, you know, I want to get paid weekly. So, you know, where's my payment? Well, you got to go and check the property to make sure that the work's got done. I see a lot of people who don't check, and they're like, oh, they want their second payment. Okay, here we go. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, you have to only pay if they've gotten whatever needed to get done for that next payment.
Got it.